I recently had the honor of participating again in a mentorship session for youth in Greater Vancouver focusing on future career paths. Their questions inspired me to do another small series of videos here for a course in production. Their questions are bolder, so my answers are more revealing. I'm going to call this little sub-series Tough Questions. With this, I'm going to delve into some of my more challenging moments in production in Vancouver's animation industry. Today's video is going to be about my worst day on the job. I'm not merely whining or venting, this is actually a fantastic learning moment for me. So here's what happened. At one of my studios, I had the opportunity to work with a very talented woman who had a high-ranking creative role in the project I was working on at the time. She was superior to me, and I really admired her. She was smart, tough, and good at her job. One day, we got into it on the floor, and I ended up in tears. It was the first time I had ever cried at work in front of other people, and I was super embarrassed. Not only was I on the floor, other members of my team, people I was supposed to be managing, witnessed this mess, and I was devastated that a person who I deeply admired was angry with me. My team saw me with my makeup running down my face, and I basically ran out of the room in tears. So how did we resolve this? Thankfully, we resolved it quickly. After a few minutes to cool off, she apologized sincerely and bought me a bottle of whiskey, which is my preferred drink. We talked it out. What got us to this point where we were yelling at each other on the floor? What could we have done better? And what will we commit to avoid a communication breakdown again in the future? I'm happy to say that after this little incident, we went on to work together very well and happily for many months until my contract at that studio finished. I would work with her again in a heartbeat to this day, and we've both gone on to have very successful and rewarding careers. So that was my worst day in production. What did I learn from this experience? First, fights happen at work. While it's not always the most professional option, it's not a death sentence on your working relationship as long as you take the space you need and then talk it out like the grown-ass adults we all are. Second, you can have a different management style, work priorities, and communication style from your peers and still work alongside each other well and be a good example to your teams. Lastly, I wanted to take a moment to address the fact that in my example, me and the person I fought with are women. It wasn't a so-called catfight, and I do feel still that women in leadership positions are often pitted against one another or are unfairly perceived as being in constant competition. The truth is, we had a disagreement. It's not the end of the world. I was at fault, and so was she. I bear no ill will towards her, and in fact, in a weird way, I consider her success my success. This is to say that when women like her achieve high-ranking positions in this industry outside of production, it's really a win for all of us. There's no need to cry and compete when we can be spending our time celebrating and supporting one another.